So this fall at Hope Church, we're going to do a Life of Love experiment. It's not a homework challenge. You can fail homework challenges. This is an experiment. We're going to learn what it looks like to live a life of love. And what we're going to do is simple. You've all been given a piece of paper. I don't actually have one in front of me, but I've got one, okay? And this experiment is simple enough that absolutely everyone can do it. Whether you're old or young, right? Our kids could do this. Old or young, good or bad, smart or simple, bored or busy, especially the busy. What we're going to do is for the next 90 days or so, from now until the end of November, we're going to recite or pray the greatest commandments every day. Preferably twice a day, if possible. Just like Jesus did. I mean, that's really all this is it's all we're doing is just trying to be like Jesus in the most concrete, simple way that we can. We're just going to adopt a practice for 3 months that Jesus did for his entire life. And we're going to see what happens. That's what I mean by a life experiment, an experiment, a life experiment. One way to look at it is, you've got your life, it's a normal life. We're going to introduce one little change to your life. One little change. It'll take you maybe a minute every day. And you're going to introduce this change to your life, and then you're going to watch what happens over time. And to see if something changes. You can even make a hypothesis on this and say, well, I bet if I did this, this might happen, or my life might change in this way. It's a great way to lean into this. But regardless, we're gonna run this experiment and see what happens to ourselves and to our community when we follow Jesus in this tiny little way. Now, here's why we're doing this. I've got a hypothesis I'm going to share with you. You may or may not agree with this hypothesis, but we're going to see if it works over the next 90 days. Here it is. By reciting the greatest commandments regularly, we will look more and more like Jesus because we will be more focused on loving God and loving neighbors. Jesus did those two things perfectly. And as we do what he did, we can become more like him. We will become more loving. Now, believe me, I know that we all have very different feelings about experiments and about being told to do something at church. I know that. Some of us are joiners naturally. Oh, we're doing something? Great, let's go. Some of us are not joiners. I'm not looking at anybody in particular, just so you know. I just know that that's real. Some of us like to get in and get busy. Some of us like to stand back and watch and say, is that really going to work? But what I'm inviting you all to do is to jump in and try it. And, you know, introducing even a small change can be a little, maybe not intimidating, but sometimes we're a little cynical about whether we'll be able to do this. And so I want to make this as easy as possible and make sure that we can get as much success as possible. So I've got a few tips for you. We'll be turning to, so on one side of the card that you got is the verse. Those are the verses that you're going to recite morning and night. And on the back side is what we're going to go through now. 3 tips that will help you have a great life of love experiment. The first is to get a visual reminders. You are holding that in your hand right now if you've got that piece of paper in your hand, right? The verse is your visual reminder. And my encouragement to you is just put it somewhere that you're going to see it. Maybe even in the place where you're going to recite it. So it could be on the nightstand when you go to bed and get up. It could be in the mirror in the bathroom so that after you're done brushing your teeth, you say it. It could be in your car. It could be in your work, at your workspace. It could be in your locker, wherever it is. put something up that you can see. Now, you might think, oh, that sounds just really practical, okay, whatever. It's actually biblical. It's actually biblical. When Moses first said these words, he went on to suggest this. He said, bind them, that is, these commands, as a sign on your hand, fix them as an emblem on your head, write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. In other words, put them where you can see them. Let them be visual reminders that this is important. So important. So first, visual reminder. You've got one. Take it home. We'll send out, if you want more copies, we can get you, just paper. We can do that. But put it up somewhere where you can see it. Second, name your intention and your expectation. Just say, I'm going to do this, and be as specific as you can. Social scientists have found when we're trying to make a change, if we can be as specific as possible, naming a place and a time, we have a way better chance of actually following through, of actually remembering first and then following through. So on the back of your verse card, the first little sentence there says this: I will pray the greatest commandments at least blank times a day for 3 months, and I will do this at. And so what I'd like for you to do, whether you do it now or later is not important to me, is to decide, am I doing this twice a day? Am I doing this once a day? How often am I going to do this? And where and when am I going to do this? So for me, I can tell you that the where in the morning is going to be on my back patio as I sit in silence and then quiet in the dark for an hour. It's already a part of my routine. I'm already doing it. What I'm adding now is a time to do it at night. So I need to set an intention. Am I going to do it when I'm brushing my teeth or washing my face? Am I going to do it like after I finish playing my Wordle on New York Times games, or am I going to do it some other time? I'm going to be intentional about that. I would invite you as well. And then something else that you might do that might be helpful is to personalize your expectation. In other words, at the end of 90 days, one change I would like to see, I hope to see is, so you probably know, like, okay, I'm really good at loving in this situation, but at this situation, I'm not so good at loving people. I'm not so good at loving this person in this way, or I'm not so good at loving that person in that way. And maybe what you want to do is just say, one way I'd like to be different, one way I'd like to grow over this season is to become more loving this way. And just name it. Just name it. Maybe you want to listen to your spouse better, be more patient with the child. Maybe you simply want to experience God's love more. Whatever it is, write that down. So, first, a visual reminder. Second, set your attention. Finally, partner up. Partner up. We are 1,000,000 times more likely to stick with something if we're doing it with someone else. If we have a teammate, a partner. You can actually recite these verses with your spouse morning and night. If you both agree that that's what you want to do. Or with a child. You can tell your child that that's what you're going to do. But you could do that. Or a friend. And maybe you don't actually recite them together, but a partner is someone who will ask you, how are things going? A partner is someone you will ask, how's it going with reciting the verses? And they can say, it's going great. This is what I learned. Or they can say, boy, I'm really struggling. Can you help me remember? That's what partners do. They help make us stronger. One more thing. I have time for this, believe me, I do. So one more thing. If you choose to do this, you are going to see things happen, and you are going to learn new things. And I want you to share them. Share them with your partner for sure. Share them with me. Share them with others. It's going to happen. And I'll tell you how I know it's going to happen. Because on Wednesday night, I gave this sheet to my class. I said, you're going to get this on Sunday. Here's a little sneak peek. Just start praying this twice a day. And guess what? Someone came up to me this morning and said, I had a revelation. I had an epiphany. I was praying through this and I realized already in a few days they had seen something different because they were practicing this practice. So, just so you know, we're going to help as much as possible. So every time you're in this building, don't be surprised if we ask you to pray, recite the prayer. And we'll help you. Like, by the end of 3 months, you'll probably have it memorized. But until then, we'll make sure you, but every Sunday morning, we're going to recite this. On Wednesday nights, we're going to recite this. At our leadership meetings, we're going to recite this. At our youth gatherings, we're going to recite this. Because this is not just something we do for ourselves, it's something we do together. So what I would like for you to do now is have a little come to Jesus moment. I don't ask this very often, but I'm going to ask it now. The band's going to play through Trust and Obey with no words, and I just want you to decide what you're going to do. Are you going to do something? Is the Spirit nudging you to do something with this or not?